Welcome back to the Denise Gary Show. I have some good news today. President Trump, former President Trump, has now opened the office of the former president. That's right. That's what he's calling it. There was a press release that came out. Let me share it with you. It says, today, the 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, formally opened, quote, the office of the former president. So I thought, this is great, right? So the purpose of it, which is, of course, exactly why I'm sure it is exactly what you were thinking, is to carry out President Trump's agenda. That was a Republican / conservative agenda for America, rooted in our traditional Judeo-Christian values. And I'm just thrilled. And I want to read to you part of what the press release said or stated. It says, this office is going to be responsible for President Trump's correspondence, public statements. So, that suggests he's going to have a lot to say about what Biden and Harris are doing to destroy the United States. And I'm sure you know as well as I do that Biden has signed over 30, I believe it's 33 by today's date, 33 executive orders, more than former President Bush, Obama, and Trump signed within the first 2 weeks of office. And what's so crazy about it all is it includes blacklisting of Americans, punishing Americans, going after Americans who worked in the Trump administration. It also involves an impeachment. It involves ruining people's lives across the country. Every time I think about the Keystone XL pipeline and thousands of Americans who today, when they got up in the morning to have their cup of coffee, they're out of work. And think about all the pop-ups. Think about all the restaurants. Think about all the people that work for people that are employed. They won't be able to have, say, people come and mow their lawn, or they won't be able to, their wives won't be able to go get their hair cut, or their children won't be able to participate in sports because sports cost money for children. I mean, when you think about all the people around the nation that are affected just by that one executive order to destroy and wipe out over 11,000 jobs in a day. And then we think about illegal immigration and that other executive order. And thank God, a federal judge appointed by President Trump put a stay on Biden's executive order to stop the deportation of illegal aliens. Do you realize that those illegal aliens, I'm trying to remember the exact numbers, I believe it was over, I want to say 80,000 that were to be deported, like in the next few days. And it's my understanding that approximately 90% of them were criminals. In other words, they came here, they committed a crime, or they committed crimes, and now they were going to be deported, and Biden put a stop to that. This is in direct opposition to President Trump and his agenda, which was to deport criminals out of the United States government. I mean, why should hardworking Americans who were already taxed to the hilt, and President Trump tried to tamp down on that and gave the middle class a tax cut, but why should Americans have to pay for these illegal aliens who have committed crimes, pay for their food, their medical, their housing? I mean, isn't that what we're doing when criminal illegals are in prison? We're taking care of them. We're housing them and feeding them and giving them medical care. And then, of course, some of them, if they want to be transgender, we pay for that. Anyway, so I'm just thrilled, and I know you are too. Happy day. Happy Thursday, everyone. So this office is going to take care of President Trump's correspondence, public statements, appearances, and official activities. And of course, it is to, quote, advance the interests of the United States and to carry on the agenda of the Trump administration. through advocacy, through organizing, and political activism. Wow. Now, you say, I heard about this. I found out about this today. I do understand that this was announced on Monday. I believe Monday was what, the 25th? But I'm just hearing about it. You'll have to follow me on Twitter. It was on a Twitter account for a man by the name of Anders Hagstrom. I guess if you're living in Florida, you would have heard about it, because this is where President Trump's office of the former president, quote unquote, is located in Florida. I wouldn't be surprised if it's right near or on his Mar-a-Lago estate there. That would make complete sense. So, you know, hallelujah. Thank God for that. We really do need to pray, however, for all of the American people that Biden has put out of work. And I want you to think about those illegal aliens that he's going to be allowing to come into the country. I want you to pray for the American worker, because when you get a flood of illegal immigrants that don't speak the language, don't know the laws of our land, need welfare, food, etc., they are hired, and they're paid sometimes a lesser wage than others, and so that displaces manual laborers in the United States. I mean, think about all the American people that have been displaced from their jobs because of an illegal alien who got that construction job, who got some kind of flooring position or painting position or whatever kind of manual labor you want to talk about, that have displaced the American worker. And it's incredible, but President Trump is going to be jumping in with both feet. Today, he met with the Republican minority leader, Kevin McCarthy, who is my congressman from my district. So they had a meeting, it said, at Mar-a-Lago. And according to reports that I've read to date, they're stating that based on this meeting, that the number one priority of President Trump and the Republican leadership in the House is to take back the House for the Republican Party in 2022. For those of you that have been wondering if President Trump is going to form a third party, he is not. And it's best he doesn't. I don't think it would work, and I don't think there would be enough votes to get him reelected as the next president of the United States in 2024. Although I do understand that he's talking a lot about running again for president in 4 more years. I hope he does. So this, I know, is on his mind, but I am thrilled to read that the number one priority is taking back the House in 2022. So this is what you and I need to do. You know, I'm thinking, how can we put the brakes on Biden's agenda? And one thing I want to talk about tomorrow on tomorrow's show is this systemic racism, because for those of you that don't really understand what the Democrats are doing with regards to this whole concept of systemic racism, everyone that's white in America is basically considered responsible for it. And I'm going to go into the kinds of things that will be happening in America tomorrow because of this concept called systemic racism that the Democrats are institutionalizing in government, at universities, at our schools, K through 12, etc., in our culture, in churches. I mean, it's huge, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. But, you know, to put the brakes on this sort of thing, we're going to have to, this is my call to action today, is pray. Get on your hands and knees and pray to God that we take back the House in 2022. But also, we're going to have to win the argument. We're going to have to win the debate. I hope that you'll share my show out to Democrats, as well as your friends. But share it out with Democrats and independents. Let's let people know. You know, if you haven't taken the time to research and understand what this new cultural tenet that the Democrats are putting in place across America. And as I said, literally institutionalizing this idea of systemic racism and intersectionality. If you don't really know what that is, I mean, it's terrible. And, if you think that there's an injustice or unfairness now because of companies like Parler being destroyed and 70,000 Americans being pushed off of Twitter because of their conservative or Republican viewpoint, I mean, if you think that's bad, if you think it's bad that people have lost their jobs, I don't know how many women I know that have lost their jobs because they've said something that's conservative, that's something that a person on the right would say, and they lost their job over it. They're talking about a blacklist. That's McCarthyism, blacklisting Americans who supported and support President Trump. And, going forward, let me just state for the record, I am going to support the office of the former president, Donald J. Trump, because I do believe in those Judeo-Christian values that President Trump worked to push forward as part of the agenda in the United States government. And I appreciate that. And I know all of you do too that are listening. But let's be informed as we possibly can. So when we talk to our friends that are Democrats or relatives and work associates in a kind way, in a respectful way, but tell the truth about what we believe and why it's important, hopefully we can change minds and thereby change votes and win the House back in 2022. I also wanted to share a little bit of good news for those of you that may not have heard. I just read that the Republican governor of Texas, I had it right here in my stack. Critical. There it is. I wanted you to know, Paxton is his name, the AG, the Attorney General for the state of Texas. He's pushing back on the illegal immigration and is working. Also, in the state of Wyoming, the Biden administration is now being sued for halting the oil and gas leasing on federal lands. I don't know. See, this is something to share with your friends that are Democrats and independents. The executive order that Biden signed was illegal. It was illegal. You need to share that out. The executive order violates, and I just learned this by doing the research, it violates the Mineral Leasing Act. That's a federal law. It violates the National Environmental Policy Act and the Federal Lands Policy and Management Act. So Biden, with that one executive order, violated 3 federal laws. That's an abuse of power. Let's impeach Biden. Anyway, I wanted to share that out, that apparently the president does not have the authority to ban the development for oil and gas on federal lands. And I understand also that because of the environmental research and work and reports that were written with respect to the Keystone XL pipeline, that actually that pipeline is a very environmentally friendly pipeline, especially to the animals that live along that pipeline. So anyway, a lot more coming out about the lies and dishonesty and federal laws that have now been broken by the Biden administration vis-a-vis the people he's appointed to office and the Green New Deal executive order. We'll talk more about that. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, and pray, and let's do what we can do to take back the House and stop this very liberal progressivism by the radical Biden administration. Thank you, and please support my 2 sponsors. If you'd like to be a sponsor, I really do need the support to cover all the costs of doing this podcast. Please send your tax-deductible contribution. It is tax-deductible. I have a 501c3. It's called the Middle East initiative, and that's another show, by the way, I want to do, is how the Biden administration is hurting and impacting Israel and the Middle East. And we'll do that next week. But my 501c3 is called the Middle East Initiative, and you can send a tax-deductible contribution to P.O. Box 82162. 82162, Bakersfield, California, 93380. Thank you so much for help with the program and all the work I do. Also, follow me on Twitter. It's at Denice. By the way, my name is spelled Denice. It's not with an S, it's with a C. So it's at Denice, Denice, like the city in France, Nice, Nice, Gary, Gary Show, at Denice Gary Show. So follow me on Twitter too. I'm also on YouTube. I try to get things posted on Instagram as often as I can, and I try to get things on SoundCloud. Can't always do that. I am an educator, and I also have a day job. But anyway, I do my best. But tell your friends that don't do Facebook to find me on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening. Let's stay focused and energized going forward in 2021.
President Trump has correctly stated that economic security is national security. And in the Tehachapi Mountains of Kern County resides a United States defense contractor, Denice Products. Here is the Silicon Valley of the aerospace industry, right here in East Kern. Denice Products is a forward-leaning manufacturer and distributor of hardware sold to major defense and aerospace companies. We're talking about Boeing, Lockheed Martin, United Technologies, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon General Electric, and on the list goes, as well as to every United States ally worldwide, including Israel, America's most important strategic ally in the Middle East. And for everything that flies, Denice Products is providing the parts. And with me today is the president of Denice Products, Scott Baker. Hi, Scott.
How you doing?
You believe this corner of Kern County is the hub of the aerospace industry.
Well, this portion of Southern California here out in the Antelope Valley, it contains, some of the most cutting edge technology going on in aviation today. We have some of the UCAS programs with unmanned technologies going on. We have Edwards Air Force Base out here who's doing continual testing in their area. We have the Naval Weapons Station up there at China Lake doing some fantastic cutting edge stuff, cruise missile technology, and those things are going on. We have Scale Composites locally doing a lot of composite technology, which is new. We have SpaceX, which is a private entity putting things into space now. This area is the growth center for aviation's future, and this is the area I think that as a nation we need to be concentrating some of our effort and taking this technology. And as we all know, with the space program from Apollo years ago, out of these technologies, we the private sector are going to reap some of the benefits of that.
Thank you, Scott. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Baker, president of Denice Products. Denice Products, located in the beautiful mountains of Tehachapi, California, in eastern Kern County, is home to some of the most innovative and specialized technologies in the world, including those at the U.S. Naval Air Warfare Center, Weapons Division at China Lake, Edwards Air Force Base, as well as Strata Launch, launching satellites capable of delivering multiple orbits in a single flight to space. And it is Denice Products that has provided the manufactured devices, and the president, Scott Baker of Denice Products, Marine Corps veteran, reactivated on 9/11 to monitor threats to the homeland, is carrying on a tradition of providing for the security of the United States by manufacturing every kind of fastener on anything that flies, as well as providing a full testing destructive laboratory. Contact Denice Products, now in business for 30 years, at 661-822-6873. Located at 1314 Goodrich Drive in Tehachapi for your manufacturing and testing needs today.
I want to tell you about a place I love to go, Frugatti's Italian Restaurant. Very few locations here provide seating outside in front of a fabulous water fountain with an atmosphere that is reminiscent to me of eating outdoors in Venice. This is real Italian food by real Italians. And what makes it even more so is owner Ralph Frugoletti, who nearly a quarter century ago brought a wood fire oven from Milan, Italy to make, like his mother, fresh homemade bread and pizzas. Moreover, Frugatti's Restaurant offers you not only the very best in Southern Italian cooking, even importing the finest ingredients for authentic Italian food, including a fitness menu. After all, Ralph has represented the United States and Italy, competing in the Master Championship Games. He knows all the right food for good fitness, so check out the menu. After today's broadcast, run over to Frugatti's Italian Restaurant and Catering at 600 Coffee Road here in Bakersfield. And after a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday service, stop into Frugatti's for a great lunch. And for dinner, there is live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'll see you there, and tell Mr. Ralph Frugoletti that Denice sent you. Salute. Buon appetito.